They gave me 72 hours to pack up and leave. My own property, but they never expected I'd use their own bylaws to turn the tables. Now, they're legally forced to pay me triple rent every single month, forever. You've officially violated HOA policy and must vacate the premises within 72 hours. Excuse me? What the hell are you talking about? This is a formal HOA directive. Immediate compliance is required under the new community regulation. This is my property. I bought it. I live here. You can't just tell me to leave. The board voted on an emergency policy amendment. It's now active, and you didn't even inform me before enforcing it. A physical notice was placed in your mailbox yesterday morning. That constitutes legal notice. I rent out my guest house, just like 3 other homeowners in this community. You've never had an issue before, the HOA determined, that ongoing short-term rental operations disrupt the residential character of the neighborhood. Oh, now it's disruptive. I mean, after 4 years of it being just fine? Previous board members overlooked enforcement. This new leadership is correcting those oversights. You mean flexing your power? We're restoring order and ensuring the property values remain high. So your idea of maintaining value is throwing paying residents out of their legally owned homes? You're running an unlicensed business from your residence? That's no longer permitted. I pay property taxes. I pay HOA dues. I follow zoning codes. City knows I rent the unit. The HOA is not obligated to follow city guidelines. Our internal regulations supersede within community boundaries. Can't legally change rules without a proper vote. There was no vote. The board has emergency powers. The amendment, passed under urgent status due to multiple complaints. Complaints from who? You and your little power-hungry committee? Resident privacy is protected. The number of complaints meets quorum. Let me get this straight. You didn't notify residents, you didn't hold a public vote, and now you're issuing eviction threats based on a secret rule change. Mischaracterizing it? This is an official compliance matter. Failure to vacate within 72 hours will result in legal action. Legal action? You're going to sue me for living in my own damn house? For failure to comply with an HOA directive? You agreed to be bound by our terms upon purchase. I agreed to the terms in place at the time. You can't retroactively apply new rules without due process. Refer to the addendum in the bylaws packet you received last week. I never got a packet. It was delivered via HOA courier. We have a signed delivery log. Signed by who? Because I never signed anything. Our records show the signature. If you're accusing us of forgery, you'll need to file a formal complaint. I absolutely will. This is outrageous. Your lease operations are in violation as of 48 hours ago. Your time is now limited. This is the first I'm hearing of any of it. Again, the rules are published and distributed. It's your responsibility to remain informed. And if I don't vacate, daily fines begin after the 72-hour window. Legal filings proceed within 5 business days. Unbelievable. So this is how you run things, now threats and fines. We're enforcing community standards. If you are not in compliance, consequences follow. You're targeting me specifically. We're applying policy universally. No, you're not. I can name 3 other residents who rent on Airbnb right now. They've been given notice. Enforcement is rolling. So you're breaking up the community to protect property values? Or protecting homeowners from transient guests, security risks, and disturbances? I rent to traveling nurses and veterans. You just hate the fact I'm not part of your HOA clique. This isn't personal. It feels personal when you're pushing me out of my own house. You have an issue? Bring it to the next board meeting. In the same meeting where you and your 2 friends outvote everyone else? Yeah, that's real democratic. The board has full authority to enact urgent changes for the benefit of the community. You'll regret this. I know this isn't legal. You're welcome to contact your attorney. Oh, I already have. Trust me, you've just opened a door you're not ready to walk through. You have 72 hours. That, we proceed. I'm not going anywhere. You'll have to drag me out. If that's your stance, expect a court summons by the end of the week. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. Have a good day. Okay, let's see. HOA bylaws. Printed version. Last revision date. This can't be right. What did you find? Clause 14B. It's buried in the back pages. Look at this. What does it say? In the event a homeowner is forcibly removed due to a regulatory enforcement, whether permanent or temporary, the HOA shall be liable for compensatory housing costs at a rate of 3 times market value. It's paid monthly until equivalent accommodations are provided by the HOA. You're joking? I'm dead serious. It's right here, black and white.
Wait.
You mean if they kick someone out, they legally have to pay triple rent? Exactly, and it's mandatory, not optional. They passed this clause themselves last year when trying to look progressive for those housing equity grants. Put this in their own rules? They probably didn't think anyone would read it. Let me see that again. Read the footnote. In effect, upon issuance of vacate notice, revocation of notice does not void liability once filed. So, the second they handed me that 72-hour eviction, they triggered this clause. Yep, and it says here, compensation shall begin 72 hours after delivery of notice. That's tomorrow. They even realize what they've done? Doubt it. They were too focused on forcing you out. This means they legally owe me 3 times the monthly rent for any comparable housing unit. Not just for 1 month, it says continuously, until they offer an equivalent property and cover all costs of transition. This is gold. Pure gold. They tried to blindside me with a fake emergency rule, and now they've signed themselves into a financial noose. Have they offered you a replacement residence? Nothing. Just a notice taped to my door. Then they're in breach of their own policy. And now I'm not just staying and billing them. They'll try to claim it's not valid. They wrote it. They published it. They enforced it. And they can't unring the bell. Did they ever rescind the notice? Nope, they doubled down this morning. Said legal action starts in 2 days. Then the clause is fully triggered. You should call your lawyer again. I already emailed this to him. He's laughing harder than I am. Triple rent. For how long? There's no cap listed. Just says, until suitable. Comparable housing is secured or the homeowner is fully reinstated, and they already kicked you off the HOA resident directory, right? Yup. Locked me out of the portal too. Said I'm in violation and no longer an active member. Wow. So by their own system, you're officially displaced. And by their own clause, that means I'm entitled to monthly compensation. This is going to bleed them dry? Triple rent in this area? That's over $6,000 a month, and it starts tomorrow. Exactly. They wanted me gone fast. Now they're going to pay forever. You really think they'll honor it? They'll fight it. But my attorney said this clause is enforceable. It was voted in. It's on record. They can't claim ignorance. They published this in the same revision they used to kick you out. They were so eager to weaponize their new rules, they forgot what else they attached to them. They have to pay personally, right? The HOA budget? Yep. This comes straight out of HOA funds dues, fees, reserves. They're going to have to tell the whole neighborhood why fees are going up. They'll try to keep it quiet. But when dues spike and services get cut, people will start asking questions. What happens if they still refuse to pay? They'll be in breach of their own charter. HOA insurance won't cover self-inflicted liability, so personal board liability could kick in. Exactly. They're exposed now financially and legally. Oh, because they wanted you out without following the rules? Oh, because they got cocky. You should frame that clause. I'm thinking of printing it on a plaque, right above the spot where they taped my eviction notice. They played themselves. You didn't even need to fight. You just needed to read. Sometimes the best revenge is knowing how to read the fine print better than the people enforcing it. So what now? I wait. I track everything. I document the days. Next week I send them the first invoice. With interest. Absolutely with interest. Penalties. And a lawyer's letterhead. They're going to lose their minds. They tried to destroy my home. They're going to finance it. We received your letter. The board believes there's been a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. You issued a 72-hour eviction that triggered Clause 1 for B. The clause wasn't meant for cases like this. It applies to hostile takedowns, not policy enforcement. Read your own wording. Any removal due to regulatory enforcement, permanent or temporary. That's exactly what you did. You were never actually evicted. You still live there. You removed me from HOA access, locked me out of voting rights, and declared me non-compliant. That legally constitutes removal. You're twisting the language. No. Quoting it. The clause doesn't require physical removal, an issued directive with legal consequence. It was never our intent to displace anyone. Intent doesn't matter. Action does. And the action triggered a financial obligation. We tried to contact you to resolve this amicably. After the clock expired and you realized what you signed into law, your demand for triple rent is excessive and unreasonable. Talk to your lawyer. I'm just holding you accountable to your own bylaws. Triple rent was symbolic. No one ever thought it would be invoked. Symbolic or not, it's binding. You enforced an amendment. Now live with it. We'll vote to repeal it. You can repeal it all you want. It still applies retroactively to actions already taken. Then we'll revoke your notice. Too late. Your own rules say revocation does not void liability once notice is issued. You're being vindictive. I'm being lawful. You're the ones who weaponize policy. HOA budget cannot sustain this kind of payout. Should have read the clause before you threatened homeowners. You can't actually expect us to pay this forever till you provide a legally comparable housing unit or reinstate me fully with a written apology and public correction. We're not issuing apologies? Then keep writing checks. This is extortion. This is justice. You tried to ruin me. You're going to fund me. You're a homeowner. You're supposed to care about the community. That's why I won't let a corrupt board run it into the ground. We could take this to arbitration. I already did. The mediator ruled the clause enforceable. You're weaponizing the system. No, I'm using the system. You're the ones who wrote the rules. You'll drain the HOA dry. Not my problem. You wrote the clause. You triggered it. You enforced it. There has to be another way. Buy me out. What? You want out? Purchase my property at triple its appraised value. You're insane. Or keep paying me $6,000 a month. Your choice. You're bluffing. I've already filed the lien paperwork. Check with your treasurer. You filed a lien against the HOA. You bet I did. The judge approved it yesterday. You've gone too far. No, you went too far. I'm just showing you what's on the other side. You really want to fight the entire HOA? I'm not fighting the HOA, I'm fighting UA. A handful of power-drunk board members who thought they were above their own rules. This will ruin our financial reserves. You should have thought of that before issuing a 72-hour ultimatum without legal review. Other residents won't stand for this. Let them know why their dues are going up. We're calling an emergency meeting? Better bring a calculator. We'll vote to rescind the payout. Can't vote away legal obligation. The court has already ruled you're going to destroy this neighborhood. You did that the moment you let your ego right. Policies your wallet couldn't handle. There must be room to negotiate. I'm listening. No public apology. No admission of wrongdoing. We cover your rent for 3 months, then we're done. Triple rent. Indefinite duration. That's the deal. Be reasonable. Be accountable. You can't bankrupt us just to prove a point. You tried to break me. This is just the invoice. State your name for the record. Jacob Morris. And your relation to the HOA. I'm a homeowner and the recipient of a 72-hour eviction notice issued by the HOA board. Defense, your opening, Your Honor? The HOA acted within its authority to issue a compliance notice under new policy regulations. And you agree the plaintiff received that notice? Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Morris. You filed a claim for triple monthly compensation under the HOA's own clause. Explain. The board issued an unlawful notice forcing me to vacate. That action triggered Clause 1 for B of the HOA bylaws. Do you have that clause with you? Yes. Here's a copy, signed and adopted by the board. States, any homeowner displaced, due to regulatory enforcement, is entitled to triple rent until the HOA provides suitable replacement housing. Defense. Do you deny the clause exists? No, Your Honor. We acknowledge the clause is in the governing document. Do you deny issuing the 72-hour notice? No, but it wasn't intended to permanently displace the homeowner. Intent is irrelevant.
The document says any
enforcement action resulting in displacement. Did the plaintiff lose access to HOA portals, meetings, and rights? Yes. Was he labeled non-compliant? Yes. So by your own classification, he was no longer a resident in good standing? Yes. And the clause applies. You forcibly removed him from the rights and privileges of community membership. It was temporary, Your Honor. The clause specifically states that even temporary enforcement triggers financial responsibility. I see the language. It's very clear. The clause also states revoking the order does not cancel the financial obligation. Correct, Your Honor. That's section 14B, line 3. So once you issued the order, you were bound to the consequences. Yes, but this clause was symbolic. It was never meant to be enforced like this. Symbolism doesn't override the law. You put it in writing, that makes it enforceable. We were trying to prevent short-term rentals. That's all. Did Mr. Morris violate any criminal laws? No. Was he warned before receiving the notice? No formal warning? No? Then you escalated without due process, under a new policy you passed without proper homeowner vote. It was an emergency board decision, and you didn't. Consult the community? No, Your Honor. The board acted unilaterally, bypassed democratic process, and then violated their own compensation clause. I've read the documents, Mr. Morris. What amount are you claiming? Triple the local market rent for comparable housing, which is $2,300 per month. That comes out to $6,900 per month. And how long has it been since the notice? 5 months, Your Honor? That's $34,500, plus legal fees. Defense, do you have a counterclaim? We argue that the clause should be invalidated under extenuating financial hardship. Did you make that argument before enforcing it? Honor. Then you can't retroactively strip it, Your Honor. This will devastate our HOA budget. Maybe you shouldn't have issued an eviction notice under a clause you didn't understand. We thought we were acting in the best interest of the community. You also thought you were untouchable. Excuse me? This clause was put in place to protect homeowners from exactly this kind of abuse? We didn't abuse him. Labeled him non-compliant without evidence. You revoked his access, issued a 72-hour ultimatum, and enforced a rule without due process. We were trying to stop Airbnb traffic. And instead, you triggered a financial obligation that now legally binds you. Your Honor, can we settle privately? Too late. You brought this to court. Now I'm ruling. Yes, Your Honor. The HOA is hereby ordered to compensate the plaintiff $6,900 per month, retroactively from the date of notice, totaling $34,500 immediately. Further, the HOA will continue to pay the same amount monthly until one of two conditions is met. Either they reinstate Mr. Morris fully, or they provide him with an equivalent property at no cost to him. Your Honor, we'll go bankrupt. Next time, read your own bylaws before swinging them around like weapons. So, we're just supposed to keep paying you. You're not supposed to. You have to. This is completely unsustainable. Then maybe you should have thought twice before abusing your authority. You really won't negotiate? I already did. It was called following the rules. You ignored them. Now you're paying the price. We didn't think the clause would hold up. Your mistake, not mine. Never expected this to backfire so hard. You tried to strong-arm me? Out of my own house in 72 hours? Now, you're legally forced to fund my lifestyle. You're bleeding our reserve account. Not my problem. You're the ones who made a promise in writing. I've already collected over 30 grand. And you'll keep paying until you offer me equivalent housing or reinstate me in full with back access and formal apology. Not apologizing, then. I hope your checkbook's in shape. You're destroying this community. No. You did that when you acted like dictators instead of neighbors. People are angry. Dues are going up. Services are being cut. Then maybe they'll start asking why. We're being questioned at every meeting. Maybe start your next one by reading Clause 1.4 be allowed. You're making a mockery of this neighborhood. Making a point when power is abused. Consequences follow. You're turning this into a circus. I'm turning it into accountability. Don't like the payout? Then reverse what you did. We can't. That door is shut. Exactly. It's the part you didn't think through. We're getting pressure from the other residents. I would too if I had to explain why someone is living rent-free on triple rent payouts. From the HOA budget, you know this isn't going to end well. For who? Because for me, this is the easiest income I've ever had. We'll have to increase fees again. Be sure to explain to your neighbors that it's because of your poor leadership. You're enjoying this too much. I'm enjoying the irony. You thought you had all the power. Now I have all the leverage. You know, we could just offer you a buyout. It's triple market value cash. No negotiation. You're dreaming. I'm just giving you options. Pay me forever. Or pay me once. There's no way the board will agree to that. Then I'll just keep cashing your checks. You realize what kind of precedent this sets? One that says read your own rules before threatening people with them? We were trying to improve the neighborhood? No, you were trying to control it. You've humiliated the board. You humiliated yourselves the moment. You taped that eviction notice to my door. This has gone too far. It's gone exactly far enough. You're going to bankrupt us. And maybe the next board will read the fine print. We can't function like this. You shouldn't have functioned like tyrants. There has to be something you want. I already told you. Full reinstatement, public correction, or a triple price buyout. We'll never agree to that. Then enjoy mailing those checks. We underestimated you. No, you overestimated your authority. You could have just moved out. Quietly. You could have acted like adults. You're impossible to negotiate with. I don't negotiate with people who threaten my home. You're cold. I'm thorough. Do you plan to stay just to bleed us? Shh, until you undo. What you did or go broke trying. This isn't a win. It's sabotage. It's justice. You're destroying trust in the community. You destroyed that the moment you ruled by fear instead of fairness. Point good. Now keep paying until you fix it.